Hey everyone, I thought I would talk to you a little bit about what my goals are for 2023. I'm not going to call them resolutions. I think with resolutions, they're not specific enough, and you know, a resolution versus a goal. Resolution is, almost like it feels like it's setting you up for failure because it's resolving something or making a change in something that you're not happy with. And then if you don't achieve that, then you kind of feel like you failed. But a goal is more obtainable, in my opinion, because they're very specific. You can hold yourself accountable. You're not challenging someone else and competing with them. It's something that you're focusing on and only competing with yourself. So I just think that a goal might be easier to obtain, especially if I'm putting it out there in YouTube land. It's easier for me to be accountable because I can, refer back to this at the end of 2023 and say, did I do these things? So first and foremost, the most important thing to me is a work in progress, and that is to continue to strengthen my relationship with Jesus Christ. I consider myself very close to him, but I know that there's always room for growth. And so Corey and I actually, after years and years of going to different churches and being let down in one way or another by a church, realizing how infiltrated they've become, we just decided to start doing our Bible study at home. So we found a very good Bible study teacher online. His name is Pastor Paul, and he is with Calvary Chapel, Ontario, not Canada, but Oregon. It's between the Oregon and Idaho border. Anyway, he is so detailed. It takes him 10 years to go through the Bible from beginning to end. So if y'all see the post I make on my community page, a lot of that is from me watching his teachings online. So I'd say Corey and I started in 2020 during the lockdown is when we really started doing the Bible study. Churches were closed anyway. And we just realized how much more we were learning because they weren't slicing and dicing and taking bits and pieces out of the Bible. They were reading from beginning to end and then explaining everything in between. So even though that was in 2020 and we're wrapping up 2022, we've only made it from Genesis to Romans, but we're getting there. There was a while we were doing Bible study every single night, but then there's times where weeks go by, we just get really busy. So that's going to be my goal after I finish my way through the Bible for the first time. Then I want to go study one of my favorite pastors. He passed away in 2020, David Pawson. He is a South African minister, and he has this series called Unlocking the Bible. So he goes through the Old Testament and through the New Testament. So once I make my way all the way through the Bible, just reading it and processing it, then I want to go back and kind of fill in the blanks because the Bible, which is a great tool to live by, but there's a lot of things left out with regards to historical things and genealogy of the different tribes of Israel and all that. So I just studied about 30 minutes of David Pawson's Unlocking the Old Testament, and I was like, whoa, this goes into such depth. So I've got myself a notepad, and once I finish reading the Bible, I'm going to start with the Unlocking the Bible, and I would love it if anybody out there would join me and would also look into Unlocking the Old Testament with me with David Pawson, and we can exchange thoughts and things like that. It's always great to have someone to talk to. I know we're supposed to have fellowship with other brothers and sisters in Christ, and it's kind of hard when I'm not involved in an actual church, but we do it online from our living room. It's kind of hard to do that, but anyway, so that's my goal, not resolution. My goal is to just grow closer to Christ. Every decision that I make, I want to ask myself, what would Jesus do, when it comes to just everyday life decisions. So that's goal number one, growing closer to Christ, learning more from the Bible by doing the Unlocking the Old Testament series, and then I'll move into the New Testament. And by the way, I know a lot of people think that it's not important to study the Old Testament. They say, well, that's for the Jews and we're the Gentiles, so, I just start with the New Testament. But I'm telling you, the Old Testament foreshadows the the New Testament, and it does apply to us. I'm telling you, not everything, not the man-made traditions by the Pharisees that we have to, go by the Sabbath and whatever. So, just saying, I would not skip past the Old Testament. There is some great wisdom in there. So, anyway, that is goal number one. And number two is kind of twofold. So we went to the doctor a few days ago, Corey and I, for our annual checkup that we do at the end of every year before we get approved for our insurance benefits. And has been the case for years. My blood pressure, my cholesterol is always high. So I am going to focus more on eating right and getting in shape. And, I'm not going to look at it like, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. Because again, if you set resolutions like that and you don't achieve them, you feel like you failed. To me, it takes just as long to take weight off as it does to put it on. So, I'd say it's about 5 years ago or so, I had a hysterectomy, and that kind of jump-started menopause for me. And then, of course, the pandemic came around. A lot of us were locked in our homes and not getting out, not going to the gym and things like that. But I look at it from kind of a different perspective. Yes, I believe that if I shed some weight, I will feel better. I'll definitely look better. Now that I have a YouTube channel and I see myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've put on so much weight. But more importantly is I want to be healthy. I don't want to go on blood pressure medicine and then cholesterol medicine. I want to, because I think of it from a perspective of an SHTF situation, and what if you didn't have access to your pharmacy or your doctor or whatever? What would you do? And your body builds up a dependency to certain medications. I know my older daughter had to go on thyroid medicine, and they said once you go on, you're not supposed to go off. Your body will start breaking down, and I don't want to be in a situation like that. So I want to feel better. I want to look better. I want to have more energy. The more energy I have, the more work I can do for God. If I'm always feeling sluggish and everything, but it's kind of a catch-22, because as preppers, we tend to put away a lot of stuff that's filled with preservatives and high sodium, like Spam and all that. And I'm not knocking it. I mean, if you got to eat, you got to eat. But it's like I said, a lot of shelf-stable stuff. It's just not natural ingredients, and I'm just going to try to find a balance, because I know I need to use some of my preps before they go bad. But I also want to try to, while I can, eat fresher fruits and vegetables. So that's going to be one of my focuses, is just getting in shape, eating better. I used to belong to a gym, and I love that place. Oh my gosh, because we had a eucalyptus sauna and a pool and all that. But part of prepping is being more frugal with your money, and it was a fortune to be a member there. So I did invest in some home gym equipment. So I'll be bringing you a video of what I'm going to be working on in that regard. I know there's a YouTube channel called Gymra, Gymra, and they've got a bunch of Pilates, aerobics, Zumba, just different things that you can do from your home. So I'll probably be using that. I've got a little miniature trampoline. I've got like a stair stepper. What else do I have? I have some free weights. I've got some Pilates and some yoga equipment, yoga mat and stuff like that. And then, you know, something else to consider if you're in the same boat as me, you don't want to spend money on a gym membership. See if you got any of those parks in your area that have the free outdoor workout equipment. We definitely have one of those down the road. They've got community centers that sometimes put on Zumba classes and things like that. That's something to look into. I know in our neighborhood we had like water aerobics and things like that during the summer. So just look in your community if you're looking to do some free workouts. And if you want to get a workout buddy, I know sometimes that makes working out a little easier if you've got somebody to do it with. I would say if you don't really know anybody in your area, consider joining nextdoor.com and just doing a little post saying, hey, looking for somebody to go walking with and things like that, and or making a little fitness group or something. And you know, I see ladies walking around my neighborhood, they're part of a group, and you know, so that's something to consider. But so as far as getting healthy, I'm going to call it getting healthy, not losing weight, because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. I know that if you've got a lot of extra pounds, which is the case with me, in the beginning you can shed it rather quickly. You can shed like the first 10 to 20 pounds, but then as you're getting closer to your goal, that's when it gets really hard. And I'm just not going to get frustrated, but I'm going to just, you know, start eating better, and little specific goals like eating things that are fresher. Like I want to get back into eating roasted vegetables. We used to just take a sheet pan and dump broccoli, Brussels sprouts, green beans, fresh green beans, carrots, and just bake that. We stopped doing that, and we need to get back in that habit. We used to eat fish a few times a week. We stopped doing that. So I want to get back into that. I also want to stop using my microwave. I know not everybody sees eye to eye on, you know, some of my feelings about things like that, and might call me a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think there's anything really beneficial about using a microwave for just about everything, from heating up water for your coffee to, you know, heating up leftovers. I don't think that's good. So like I said, fitness, I'd like to lose some weight, eat better, drink more water. I get so busy that I actually forget to drink water. I have to force myself. So that's another goal. I've got a list here with me if you see me looking down. So let's see what my next thing is that I want to work on. Oh yeah, another thing with the high blood pressure, which I've had that for years. I don't know if it's just what I eat or if I definitely have white coat syndrome. Every time I test my blood pressure at home, it's normal, and then I go to the doctor. When I went a couple of days ago, they wanted to put me on an emergency. They said I was like a point away from having a stroke or something, which I believe it, because when I was pregnant with my first daughter years ago, they got my blood work mixed up with somebody that was HIV positive, and they just called me on the phone, the nurse, to give me the blood results. I remember her smacking her gum going, doll, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're HIV positive. And what went through my mind for that 24 hours of, I'm not going to be able to donate my organs when I die. Should I have an abortion? You know, it was brutal. So ever since then, long story short, like I said, they got my blood mixed up with someone else, but I feel bad for that person because they were told they were HIV negative and they weren't. So, but ever since then, I've had white coat syndrome. I do not do well when I go to the doctor. I'm always having just that fight or flight adrenaline rush, and so I know that's not good for my heart, but I want to be around as long as I can for my family. The world we're living in is crazy, and I know ultimately it's God's going to tell me when my time's up, nobody else. But I'm just seeing so many people die at such abnormally young ages, and although my children are adults, I just cringe at the thought of them trying to make it in this world the way it is now. So, I just want to get healthy for them. And so my next thing that I was going to talk about was my YouTube videos. Okay, so I just started my YouTube channel a few months ago, and I realized in the beginning, they say, oh, to get your channel noticed or whatever, put out as many videos as possible. So even the sloppy ones, I was just putting it out because it was about quantity over quality. But in 2023, because I know your time is just as valuable as mine, I'm going to try to step up my game with regards to editing and even the content I put out. I want to put something out that's worthwhile to you. I'm not looking to be some kind of YouTube influencer. I'm not looking to just gain a whole bunch of followers and get, commission and all that. That's not where I am. I'm all about helping people. But my focus first, like I said, is my walk with God. And if I can share anything with y'all on the community page or in the videos I make that draw you closer to God too, I ask every night that He use me as a vessel to do His work and lead others to Him. So, but if I can put that out there in my videos too, I'd like to start doing some ministry type work, even though I'm not a professional. And there's a lot of times if somebody asks me a question about the Bible, I'm like, let's go look it up together, because I don't always have the answers, but I do know that I'm passionate for Christ, and I know that's the only way I'm getting through these crazy times here in this world. So I'm gonna possibly, if the Lord leads me, to make some videos geared towards Bible study or something. Maybe I'll look into that, but in the meantime, I'll put my Bible study message on the community page like I've been doing. But so let's see, what else do we have here? As I was saying, put out better quality videos, do better jobs editing. Y'all don't need to sit through a bunch of rambling and things like that. So I'm going to try to shorten my videos, maybe make fewer videos that have a more important message or something. Let's see here. So that's that. Let's see. So I also wanted to talk to you about me trying to find a balance between being a prepper and being a minimalist. So I'm going to be doing a lot of decluttering. I don't know if I told y'all before, but my husband and I, when the kids leave the nest and we're retired, he's up for a promotion this year in which his position may be a remote one, so we can travel more. But our goal has always been, when he retires, for us to travel the country in an RV and just live on the road till we find a place that we want to set up shop. So decluttering is something that's important to me for a few reasons. I'm by far not a minimalist. I like my stuff, but I would like to kind of do some downsizing. But number one, so we can go from living in our home to living in a 40-foot trailer one day. But number two, my dad died this year. He died in February, and I remember having to go through his home, and I was just so overwhelmed. We had to just get somebody else to clean his home out. And I no longer look at things as important. I've seen so many families that when, the patriarch or the matriarch of the family pass away, there's all this infighting with the siblings, the children, and everything over who gets what and stuff like that. And I've just always had an attitude, I'm not attached to things. I came into this world with nothing. I'm leaving with nothing, so, but I don't want to leave my children. If something happens to me or Corey, sorry, we're at a campground and someone's setting up their camper right now. But if something happens to us, I don't want to leave my children with the responsibility of going through our stuff, because it's an overwhelming process. And I was talking to a guy the other day, And he was telling me how when his grandmother passed away, and him and some of the grandchildren were there going through, and they too got overwhelmed, and they were about ready to just pack everything and just send it all to the dumpster. But he picked up a coffee can and opened it, and it had rolls and rolls of $100 bills. So the point of that story is, I want to get on the same page with my children, let them know where things are, just start getting my ducks in a row if something happens to us, where they can find stuff. And the more they have to go through, I just don't want to put that burden on them. So being where we are in life, it's just time to downsize for us. Now, I know that's not for everyone. I know a lot of people like having a lot of things, and it's all about making your house your home and what you're comfortable with. That is your sanctuary, yours and your family, to get away from the hustle and bustle of this crazy world we live in. So, but for me, my personal goals, I'm going to be doing a lot of decluttering of my home and just getting it organized and as minimalist as I can. It is hard to be a prepper and have a bunch of prepping things and then also, live as a minimalist lifestyle, but it's going to be something I work on in 2023. So next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to get out of debt. I'm very close to being there. But my weakness, and I'll be very specific here, is when I'm on Facebook and the Amazon ads pop up. That's my weakness, because they monitor what you look up. They know your style, they know what you're looking for, what you're shopping for, and then they start putting that in your face. So so I'm gonna have to get off of Facebook, not be on it so much, because when I'm just absent-mindedly just scrolling, seeing what's going on, and I'm getting all these Amazon ads popping up, it's just not good. So I'm gonna get myself out of situations where I'm gonna be put in debt or I'm gonna impulse buy. I'm gonna be more careful about what I spend money on. I'm finally at a place where I'm comfortable with what we have in our pantry. So, I'm going to still top off preps, I guess, as we use them, but I don't feel the sense of urgency to go to all these stores and buy hundreds of dollars worth of grocery hauls. But, so I'd say that's pretty much it. Just budgeting, getting out of debt, not impulse buying, not being on my phone or social media so much, bringing you better quality videos, getting more in depth into the Word. Let me see if I put getting in better shape, getting healthy, and I'll try to put out some videos of some of my workout routines, as long as y'all promise not to laugh at me. I think that's about it. I think I covered everything. So thank you for letting me take up your time. I would love to hear in the comments section what your goals are. Maybe there's some things I'm overlooking and I'm forgetting, but I hope that y'all are all doing well and that you're enjoying the rest of 2022. We need a break. We need a refresh, a restart, and we get to do that here in a couple days. So y'all take care. I love you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.